Good afternoon. It is Wednesday. You may notice I am in a new space. I've moved my studio once again. I'm about to start working in my nature journal for the day, and I just thought it would be fun if we do some painting together. This is my spring spread. An unfinished spread. There's not a lot going on in here. I have my moss and mushroom studies. An old leaf study. Another mushroom study. And then this is the page I'm going to be working on. I've already sketched out most of my composition. So I'm going to be working on this spread for the next couple of days. So I'm going to move the camera so you can see what I'm working on. So I don't know if you can see anything that's on the paper right now, but I just have my autumn and the countryside title page and then September title page, since that will be the first autumn month. Got my dip pen, my nibs, and my walnut ink. So tomorrow I'm going to be going to do volunteer training at a local park so I can help with a couple of programs for this autumn. And the programs are guided hikes and nature study, nature journaling. So I'm very excited for that. Schools go to the park, they take their kids on field trips. So it's going to be 4th graders going on hikes and learning nature study and nature journaling. So like I said, this that I'm using right now is walnut ink, and I made this a couple of autumns ago and I'm still working through it. I would really like to make acorn ink. I think that could be really cool. So I'm gonna let the ink dry and then I will catch up with you. I feel like it's been a while since I've painted in general. It's been a very long time since I've nature journaled. I don't know if this was my last entry into my nature journal, but the entry before this one is from April 27th. I can see my bird feeder. It's been knocked down by squirrels for the past few days. We've had a sudden influx of squirrel activity. So sometime last year I started using like spicy birdseed because it's supposed to keep the squirrels away. The squirrels were eating all the feed, the birds weren't getting any, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try some spicy birdseed. So what happens is the birds cannot taste capsaicin. That's what makes things spicy. So birds can't taste that, but squirrels can. So if you spice up the bird seed, it's supposed to deter the squirrels. So I did that, and then all the squirrels disappeared. This was last summer I did this, and they're just now coming back. I think they really did not like that. They're gonna have to stop knocking down my bird feeders. I had a raccoon in one of mine the other day. I can't put seed in 2 of my feeders because the raccoons have been climbing up in there eating them. So that's 2 feeders. And then we have the one the squirrels are breaking apart. That's 3 feeders that I can't put bird seed in. What do you guys do when you're just waiting for paint to dry? So on these pages, I'm going to be doing post oak leaves. I have a picture. It's just some post oak leaves that had fallen to the ground. And I just think they're so beautiful. And I like them against the background of the dead leaves. And I've kind of changed the composition up a little bit, since on the title pages there's obviously words. So I kind of spread the image out. And then on the September title page, I'm going to do Northern Red Oak Leaves. So I have a little wreath. Trying to experiment a little with how I put things in my nature journal. I wrote in an Instagram post recently, and I never said this anywhere else, but if you were around for a year in the nature journal, you probably know that I never finished it. And I would really like to pick it back up next year, but like, why wait till next year? I can just start doing it again. So I might use this autumn as a, like, getting back into the habit of, like, nature journaling regularly. Let me know if you would like to journal along with me, if you would like to see a year in the nature journal come back. I would probably make some changes to the formatting. So when I did a year in the nature journal before, I had a lot of going out and exploring, but in more of a documentary style. And then I would come back and I would have time in the nature journal, speed painting. So I'm thinking that if I do a year in the nature journal, at least for the autumn, I might try to do more of a vlog format. Kind of like what we're doing right now. Just sit down, chat, go out, look for things together. Because I would really like it to be more of a community. Alright. I'm still waiting for the last little bit of ink to dry, but I think I can go ahead and get started on the composition. Good afternoon, it's a new day. It's Thursday afternoon, so I just got back from work, and at work I have about an hour of free time, so I did some painting. So this is what I have. I don't know how long I'm going to be at my desk today, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So I'm just building up the background layers, and when I'm working on this background portion, I'm not even using a reference because it's just ground cover. Like, I generally know what that looks like, and I can make my own decisions about whether I want a leaf or a twig. Basically, I just make it up as I go if I don't feel like using the reference. I just don't really feel like the reference is necessary because this is something I've painted enough to kind of know what I like. If you know my work, you know that I do this type of background fairly frequently. It's one of my favorite things to paint. So I'm just layering up my colors little by little until it looks the way I want it to, basically. And I know I've said this before, but if you're someone who is painting along with me, or maybe you're just starting out with your nature journaling endeavor, I want to stress that the things you're painting don't have to look a certain way. They don't even have to look like your reference images, because we're just making studies. And I think it's important to remember that the things that catch your eye, that's going to be different than the things that catch someone else's eye. So maybe this picture that I'm using as my reference, the color of the leaves was really striking to me, but maybe someone else would have noticed something different. I see a lot of people talking about style, and style is really just an accumulation of your time building skill. So it's not so much about what you're painting, it's about how you're painting it. And it can be about what you're painting too. Like, some people paint the same things over and over and over again, and that's fine. It builds your skill, so it builds your style. But the way that someone notices something is also a very big component of style. That's why I always try to stress that your nature journal is a reflection of your passions and your interests. Because think about how you would feel painting a study of dead leaves, of ground cover. Think about how you would feel if you were painting this very painting that I'm working on at the moment. If it feels boring to you, if it feels like something you'd have to force yourself to paint, then maybe it's not something you should be putting in your nature journal. What is something that excites you? Are you excited by moss? Maybe do some studies. Or if you're excited by birds, focus on birds. And the great thing is that it doesn't take effort. When you're putting in your journal the things that you're passionate about, you don't have to put in effort to notice these things. If you're passionate about birds, you're already noticing them. You're already observing them. You just gotta record it. It's a matter of recording our observations. Yeah, I think we have to let our passion for a certain subject or a certain species be the driving force. There's a book by Henry David Thoreau. I don't actually know if it's a book, now that I'm thinking. But basically, Henry David Thoreau spent an entire year observing and recording every single tree species he found in his area, so like his county. That's what he did. He went out every single day and recorded every tree species he came in contact with. That is driven by so much passion, and that's how I want my nature journal to feel. I want to look at the illustrations and feel like really excited and passionate about the contents. It's been a couple of days since we last spoke, and I'm back at my desk to hopefully finish my Autumn in the Countryside page. I feel like I've spent a very good portion of this video talking, so I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next one.